Warning. The following podcast contains adult languages and mature subject matter intended for adult audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
This is Rancid Readings episode number 2 on January 26th of 2016. I'm Pigeon, and this is Arcade. And we're not going to read porn today, so don't worry about that. But we're going to do something arguably worse. That is Eye of Argon.
Shall we begin? Or you begin, I should say?
The weather-beaten trail wound ahead into the dust-racked climes of the barren land which dominates large portions of the Norgolian Empire. Age-worn hoofprints smothered by the sifting sands of time shone dully against the dust-splattered crust of earth. The tireless sun cast its parching rays of incandescence from overhead, halfway through its daily revolution. Small rodents scampered about, occupying themselves in the daily accomplishments of their dismal lives. Dust sprayed over 3 heaving mounts in blinding clouds, while they bore their burdensome cargoes of their struggling overseers. "Prepare to embrace your creators in the Stygian haunts of hell, barbarian," gasped the first soldier. "Only after you have kissed the fleeting stain of death, wretch," returned Griegner. A sweeping blade of flashing steel riveted from the massive barbarian's hide-enameled shield as his rippling right arm thrust forth, sending a steel-shod blade to the hilt into the soldier's vital organs. The disemboweled mercenary crumpled from his saddle and sank to the clouded sward, sprinkling the parched dust with crimson droplets of escaping life fluid. The enthused barbarian swiveled about, his shock of fiery red hair tossing robustly in the humid air currents as he faced the attack of the defeated soldier's fellow in arms. "Damn you, barbarian!" shrieked the soldier as he observed his comrade in death. A gleaming scimitar smote a heavy blow against the renegade's spiked helmet, bringing a heavy cloud over the accordion's misting brain. Shaking off the effects of the pounding blow to his head, Griegner brought down his scarlet-streaked edge against the soldier's crudely forged hauberk, clanging harmlessly to the left side of his opponent. The soldier's steed whinnied as he directed the horse back from the driving blade of the barbarian. Griegner leashed his mount forward as the hoarsely piercing battle cry of his wilderness-bred race resounded from his grinding lungs. A twirling blade bounced harmlessly from the mighty thief's buckler as his rolling right arm cleft upward, sending a foot of blinding steel ripping through the Cimmerian's exposed gullet. A gasping gurgle from the soldier's writhing mouth as he tumbled to the golden sand at his feet and wormed agonizingly in his deathbed. Griegner's emerald-green orbs glared lustfully at the wallowing soldier struggling before his chestnut-swirled mount. His scowling voice reverberated over the dying form in a tone of mocking mirth. "You city-bred dogs should learn not to antagonize your better!" Reining his weary mount ahead, Griegner resumed his journey to the Norgolian city of Gorzum, hoping to discover wine, women, and adventure to boil the wild blood coursing through his savage veins. The trek to Gorzum was forced upon Griegner when the soldiers of Kryn were leashed upon him by a faithless concubine he had wooed. His scandalous activities throughout the Cimmerian city had unleashed throngs of havoc and uproar among its refined patricians, leading them to tack a heavy reward over his head. He had barely managed to escape through the back entrance of the inn he had been guzzling in as a squad of soldiers pounced upon him. After spilling a spout of blood from the leader of the mercenaries, he dismembered one of the officer's arms. He retreated to his mount to make his way towards Gorzum, rumored to contain hoards of plunder and many young wenches for any man who has the backbone to wrest them away.
So what the hell did you just read?
One's knee-jerk reaction might be garbage. Garbage might be what I just read, but...
It is infamous garbage in literary and sci-fi and fantasy circles, though.
cited as being the apotheosis of bad writing. And trust me, oh my god, it is.
So that was the first chapter of the Eye of Argon, which is a novella written by a guy named Jim Theus in the 70s, when he was like 16, and posted in like a...
some kind of like
fanzine magazine type of thing. And he really liked it, though there were a few mistakes because it was like hand typed with like a typewriter.
Yeah, like every issue was like hand typed out.
And God, is it terrible?
Yeah. I'm doing my best to like read all of the typos and like misspellings that are in there. There are so many of them.
David Langford describes Theus in SFX as a malaprop genius, a McGonagall of prose with an eerie gift for choosing the wrong word and then misapplying it.
And that is really the best way to describe this. It's so many misused, overly elaborate words.
Yeah, like one of my favorites from one of the parts that you read was, where is it? Well, he went and used, like, flowery stuff like, what was it, in parching rays of incandescence, but then later in the story he uses, like, in the inn he was guzzling in.
Yeah. I love he goes out of his way to use all these elaborate words, but then every time someone, like, uses a sword, it's, like, blinding steel.
Yes.
Every time, blinding steel.
Or, like, what else? There was just some stuff where he just, like, the humid air currents as he faced the attack of the defeated soldiers fell at arms. Damn you, barbarian! There's no punctuation on that. Shrieked the soldier as he observed his comrade at arms. So, like, he's all heated about his dude dying, but then he's just observing him.
He's just, like, sitting there
he's
watching.
just like, whatever.
It's like, yep.
So, there's, like, a game that people play with the Eye of Argon at, like, sci-fi conventions where they try to read it, and, if you laugh, you have to pass it off, and you have to use, like, all the awful typos, and...
Yeah, if you miss a typo, you have to pass it off.
And like, the horrible syntax and stuff. The Grandmaster Challenge is to read it with a squeaky voice after inhaling helium.
Oh, God.
Maybe we should, like, do that for the next episode.
We'll just, like, buy a bunch of helium balloons from a dollar store and huff them.
There's helium balloons across the street.
Oh, God. We'll maybe put a pin in that one for now, and maybe we'll come back to that.
Yeah, but, this guy, like, never ended up writing any more fiction. He's, like, a journalist, and he passed away some time ago, but, there was only one interview on the Eye of Argon, which was done, like, shortly after he wrote it. So he's like, I don't like the mistakes in there.
The interview pretty much went like, hey, so you wrote the Eye of Argon. It was pretty bad, eh? And he was like, bro, I'm 16. Come on. Like, yeah, it's bad. I'm 16. You published it. But I feel kind of, like, I do feel bad ripping on this because it is garbage, but at the same time, it was written by a 16-year-old over 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But that doesn't make it not hilariously bad.
Yeah.
Perhaps my favorite piece of trivia about it, though, is almost every copy of it in existence doesn't have the ending. The last page is, like, invariably missing from every issue of this zine.
Yes.
And it wasn't until a little while ago that some librarian in the States actually found
the ending,
the
like,
last
stuffed
ending
in some lost magazine somewhere.
So he immediately transcribed it to the internet for us to enjoy.
And it was like 5 sentences of crap.
And it doesn't clear anything up. You get to the end of the original, it's like, what is this? This is incomplete. And then you get the lost ending, it's like, no, this is still incomplete.
So do you want to keep going?
Do I want to? No, but also yes.
I can help you out with some voices.
Oh, good.
Okay?
Oh, good.
You can continue doing your wonderful narrative, and we'll go on to chapter 2 of the Eye of Argon. Okay? It's a masterpiece. You
All
can
right,
do it.
we'll jump back into where we left Grigner.
Grigner going to Gorsum.
With like
Also,
there's-
one last note, this guy is terrible at names.
there are no vowels in any of these names. And he throws so many at you and then doesn't explain what they are. Like, apparently Gregner is from a place called Ecordia. You never find out what that is. It's just a word
I have
they
a
use.
feeling that the 16-year-old kid just like read Conan the Barbarian and was like, that is such a cool book,
Yeah.
I want to make one. Anyway,
All right.
chapter 2.
I've already failed this. Arriving after dusk in Gorsum, Grigner descended down a dismal... Grigner is never capitalized either. I only just realized that. It's like...
No, it's capitalized.
It's capitalized
in the
like
next sentence.
once, but in most times it's not capitalized. Arriving after dust in Gorsum, Grigner descended down a dismal alley, reining his horse before a beaten tavern. The red-haired giant strode into the dimly lit hostelry, reeking of foul odors and cheap wine. Did the hostelry smell, or did Grigner?
Did the cheap wine smell? Is that the smell?
I don't. Foul odors and cheap wine. Cheap wine is a foul odor.
Yeah.
The air was heavy with choking fumes spewing from the smoldering torches, encased within the dense, earthen-packed walls. Tables were clustered with groups of drunken thieves and cutthroats tossing dice or making love to willing prostitutes. The punctuation
At the
in that is
table?
terrible.
Doing willing prostitutes at the table? At the table.
Just at the table. Eyeing a slender female crouched alone at a nearby bench, Gregna advanced, wishing to wholesomely occupy this time. The flickering torches cast weird shafts of luminescence dancing over the half-naked harlot of his choice. Her stringy orchid twines of hair swaying gracefully. Yes, they're purple.
Okay.
Stringy orchid twines of hair swaying gracefully over the lithe, opaque nose. Ew. So her nose is like see-through?
Slightly
You can just see
see-through.
through her nose. It's like tissue paper.
Okay.
As she raised a half-drained mug to her pale red lips. They're pale and red.
Okay. So they're pink?
I guess. It's lightish red.
Okay.
Glancing upward, the alluring complexion noted the stalwart giant. So she is the complexion.
She is the complexion.
Yeah, she
That's
is
like
the
that
complexion.
whole
Oh god,
like
Silk and Steel.
using the wrong thing in the wrong
Ooh.
goddamn time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so glancing upward. The alluring complexion.
Noted the stalwart giant as he rapidly approached. A faint glimmer sparked from the pair of deep blue ovals of the amorous female as she motioned towards Gregna, enticing him to join her. The barbarian seated himself upon a stool at the wench's side, exposing his body, naked save for a loincloth brandishing a long steel broadsword.
The loincloth was
Yeah.
brandishing?
I just imagine his loincloth like, hey man, stay the fuck away from me. An iron spiraled battle helmet and a thick leather sandals.
Yeah.
To her unobstructed view.
Oh, goody. Thou hast need to occupy your time, barbarian? Questioned the female?
That whole thing is the question. Like, questioned the female?
Yeah.
Only if something worth offering is within my reach, stated Gregner as his hands crept to embrace the tempting female, who welcomed them with open willingness. Come on, don't let me down on this.
Oh, sorry.
Come on.
With willingness? Sorry, that's like a double-edged
Open willingness.
From where do you come from, barbarian, and by what are you called?
Gasped the complying wench as Gregner smothered her lips with the blazing touch of his flaming mouth. So she's just like talking, and he's just like, no, it's FaceTime.
Also, his mouth is on fire.
Yep. The engrossed titan ignored the queries of the inquisitive female, pulling her towards him and crushing her sagging nipples to his yearning chest.
So erotic.
Without struggle, she gave in, winding her soft arms around the harshly bronze hide of Grigner corded shoulder blades as his calloused hands caressed her firm, protruding busts.
Okay, so bust means two boobs.
Yeah.
So she has more than two
Her
boobs.
chest's plural.
But she also has sagging nipples. So I'm imagining, like, the boobs are sticking straight out like soccer balls, and the nipples are
like
just hanging
deflated
off
balloons,
of them.
just like...
Yeah, like eggs.
You make love well, wench, admitted Grigner, as he reached for the vessel of potent wine his charge had been quaffing.
But I thought it was cheap.
Yeah, I thought it was like terrible cheap wine. A flying foot caught the mug Grigner had taken hold of, sending its blood-red contents sloshing over a flickering crescent, leashing tongues of bright orange flame to the foot-trodden floor. I don't even understand what happened there, but that's
the
fine.
foot-trodden floor as opposed to the ass-trodden floor.
Yeah, no.
Or the face-trodden floor.
There are no circus performers here. It is not a hand-trodden floor. Remove yourself, sirrah. The wench belongs to me, blabbered a drunken soldier, too far consumed by the influences of his virile brew to take note of the superior size of his adversary. Grigner lithely bounded from the startled female, his face lit up to an ashen red ferocity.
Ashen doesn't mean red.
Yeah, Kami's like the opposite. And eyes locked in a searing feral blaze toward the swaying soldier. To hell with you, braggart! Bellowed the angered accordion as he hefted his finely honed broadsword. The staggering soldier clumsily reached towards the pommel of his dangling sword, but before his hands ever touched the oaken hilt, a silvered flash was slicing the heavy air. The thews of the savage's lashing right arm bulged from the glistening bronzed hide as his blade bit deeply into the soldier's neck, loping off the confused head of his senseless tormentor. That's like 3 lines for just like Grigner cut his head off.
And no punctuation.
None. There's like a comma halfway through that. With a nauseating thud, the severed oval toppled to the floor as the segregated torso of Grigner's bovine antagonist swayed.
He was a cow.
He was an oval cow. And everything is ovals. Eyes are ovals. Heads are ovals. This kid knows only like one shape.
Yeah.
Then collapsed in a pool of swirled crimson. In the confusion, the soldier's fellows confronted Grigner with unsheathed cutlasses directed towards the latter's scowling makeup.
His makeup?
Yeah, he's like a samurai, you know, like a kabuki actor. He's got like the really angry makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah. The slut should have picked his quarry more carefully, roared the victor in a mocking baritone growl as he wiped his dripping blade on the prostrate form and returned it to its scabbard.
That's not a good word for an insult for a dude.
He was a slut!
Like,
Yeah,
I suppose he was a slut because the guy's like, hey, I wanna do that girl.
You're banging that chick that I wanted to be banging. Yeah, no, it's like... But, like, slut comes up a lot later. It's like this kid's go-to.
Yeah, which is weird. Anyway, the slut should have picked his quarry more carefully.
The fool should have shown more prudence. However, you shall rue your actions while rotting in the pits, stated one of the sprawled soldier's comrades. Grigner's hand began to remove his blade from its leather housing, but retarded the motion in face of the blades waving before his face. Like this really confuses me. So like, dude comes up and is like, "Hey, buddy, you're banging my chick," and Grigner like chops off his head, like no big deal. And then all his buddies draw their swords and they're waving. I'm like, dude, you maybe shouldn't have done that. And then he wipes his sword off, puts it away, and these guys still have their swords in his face like, hey, we're gonna arrest you because that's murder. And Grigner's like, not if I draw my sword! But then realizes, oh, wait.
I'm kind of dumb.
Yeah. Dismiss your hand from the hilt, barbarian, or you shall find a foot of steel sheathed in your gizzard.
Guess what? People don't have gizzards. Gizzards are found in reptiles and birds.
Yeah, I was gonna say Grigner's just like a turkey, didn't you?
He's
know
a
that?
turkey.
He's a giant accordion turkey made of bronze.
Yep.
Grigner weighed his position, observing his plight, whereupon he took the soldier's advice as the only logical choice. To attempt to hack his way from his present predicament could only warrant certain death. He was of no mind to bring upon his own demise if an alternate path presented itself. The will to necessitate his life forced him to yield to the superior force in hopes of a moment of carelessness later upon the part of his captors in which he could effect a more plausible means of escape.
You'll be okay?
You may steady your arms. I will go without a struggle. Your decision is a wise one, yet perhaps you would have been better off had you forced to death. The soldier's mouth wrinkled in a sadistic grin of knowing mirth as he prodded his prisoner on with his sword point. After an indiscriminate period of marching through slinking alleyways and dim moonlighted streets, the procession confronted a massive seraglio.
The streets are moonlighting.
Yeah. The moonlighted streets. That is to say, like, the streets had been moonlighting as something other than streets.
Yeah. Ooh, I killed it.
What have you done? You've doomed us all.
I'm really distracted by the illustrations that are also in the text.
Yeah, they're... I don't even know what that's supposed to be.
I think it's Sinestro from Marvel.
Yeah, I was gonna say he looks like a British version of Jafar from Aladdin, but without eyes.
Yes, because people don't need those. So the streets are moonlighting, and
The palace area was surrounded by an iron grating with a lush garden upon all sides. The group was admitted through the gilded gateway, and Grigner was led along. One word. Mm-hmm. A stone pathway bordered by plush vegetation, lustfully enhanced by the moon's shimmering rays.
So, the vegetation was plush. I will just go with that.
Yeah, it was plush. Like,
but they were lustfully enhanced.
So, like, this moon's shining on, and you're like, oh, fuck this fucking plant. Yeah, man. I'm all about this plant right now. Upon reaching the palace, the group was granted entrance, and after several minutes of explanation, led through several winding corridors to a richly draped chamber.
What was it draped on?
It was just... There's like, here, chamber. Flop.
Yeah.
Confronting the group was a short, stocky man seated upon a golden throne. Tapestries of richly draped regal blue silk covered all walls of the chamber.
So where's the silk draped upon something, or was something draped on them?
Richly draped regal blue. So like there's a tapestry, and then the blue silk is like thrown over the tapestry.
So
like,
we can't look at it.
You don't get to look at this tapestry. It's just got blue silk on it. While the steps leading to the throne were plated with sparkling white ivory.
Oh.
The man upon the... Holy shit.
You know
all of the steps were just like ivory.
Do you know how many elephant tusks you'd need to plate anything in ivory?
Every elephant tusk.
Yeah.
This man's already a monster.
Yeah.
The man upon the throne had a naked wench seated at each of his arms, and a trusted advisor seated in back of him. At each corner of the chamber, a guard stood at attention, with upraised pikes supported in their hands, golden chainmail adorning their torsos, and barred helmets emitting scarlet plumes enshrouded their heads.
The plumes are just emitting.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like raining red feathers out of the top of their helmet, like just consistently pouring them. I imagine as this scene goes on, like a pool of feathers is like slowly rising to their knees. The man rose from his throne to the dais surrounding it. I'm just gonna let that one hang.
Okay.
His plush turquoise robe dangled loosely from his chunk. Everything is plush.
From his chunk.
Chunky with like a CK.
Yeah.
Right. Like everything is plush.
Well, plush is a nice word to describe something that's soft, I suppose, but he applied it to plants.
It's like he overuses it. Like, I mean, the soldiers surrounding Grigner fell to their knees and heads bowed to the stone masonry of the floor in fearful dignity to their sovereign.
Liege. Explain the purpose of this intrusion upon my chateau.
Your serenity! Resplendent in a noble grandeur, we have brought this yokel before you. The soldier gestured toward Grigner for the redress of your all-knowing wisdom in judgment regarding his fate.
That was a thing that someone said.
The bracket was inside the quotation mark.
Yes.
So obviously he said that out loud.
Maybe at one point this had been a script or something, but then he just didn't change it.
I hope not, because a screenplay of this would be too much.
Down on your knees, lout, and pay proper homage to your sovereign,
commanded the pudgy noble of Grigner. By the surly beard of Grigner kneels to no man, scowled the massive barbarian.
You dare deal this blasphemous act to me? You are indeed brave, stranger, yet your valor smacks of foolishness. What? Valor smacks of
Your valor smacks of foolishness.
Okay.
That's a thing that people say. That is a... Yes, those are words used.
Okay.
I find you to be the only fool sitting upon your pompous throne, enhancing the rolling flabs of your belly in the midst of your elaborate luxuriard. Oh, luxuriand. Elaborate luxuriand. The soldier standing at Grignar's side smote him heavily in the face with the flat of his sword, cutting short the harsh words and knocking his battered helmet to the masonry with an echoing clang.
With an echo-ing clang.
He just, like, slapped him in the face with his sword, just like, baff.
The paunchy noble's sagging round face flushed suddenly pale, then pastily lit up to a lustrous cherry-red radiance.
No. No, it doesn't do that.
It went red, then white, then red.
His lips trembled with malicious rage, while emitting a muffled sibilant gibberish. His sagging flabs rolled like a tub of upset jelly, then compressed as he sucked in his gut in an attempt to conceal his softness. So, like, this guy's, like, suddenly, like, livid because nobody tells me that I'm a dick. like, really?
And he went red and white and red. I would be very concerned that he's having some sort of, like, heart attack.
Like, my liege, are you having a stroke?
The prince regained his statue.
Did he lose it?
It ran away.
Okay.
The prince regained his statue, then spoke to the soldiers surrounding Grigna, his face conforming to an ugly expression of sadistic humor.
Take this uncouth heathen to the vault of misery, and be sure that his agonies are long and drawn out before death can release him.
As you wish, sire. Your command shall be heeded immediately, answered the soldier to the right of Grigna as he stared into the barbarian's seemingly unaffected face. The advisor, seated in the back of the noble, slowly rose and advanced to the side of his master, motioning the wenches seated at his side to remove themselves. He lowered his head and whispered to the noble, Eminence, the punishment you have decreed will cause much misery to this scum. Yet it will last only a short time, then release him to a land beyond the sufferings of the human body. Why not mellow him in one of the subterranean vaults for a few days, then send him to life labor in one of your buried mines? To one such as he, life spent in the confinement of the Stygian pits will be an infinitely more appropriate and lasting torture.
Why not mellow him out in one of the subterranean vaults? Mellow is not the word.
No.
Maybe suffer?
And, like, I don't think this kid knows what Stygian means.
No. I don't know
Like,
what it means
he used
either.
it. He used it right the first time, but like Stygian means as pertaining to the river Styx.
Okay.
So, like, in the beginning, he's all like, "I will see you in the Stygian pits of hell." It's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of a thing. But like, the confinement of the Stygian pits that are my mines. You know what? They must be, like, ivory mines.
Yes.
Clearly.
Where ivory comes from in the mines?
That's where they get all this ivory, right?
Yeah.
You know, because ivory is something that you mine and not take off of the face of an elephant. The noble cupped his drooping double chin in the folds of his brimming palm, meditating for a moment upon the rationality of the counsellor's words, then raised his shaggy brown eyebrows and turned towards the advisor, eyes aglow.
As always, Agfund, you speak with great wisdom. Your words ring of great knowledge concerning the nature of one such as he. What?
Saith the king. The noble... So he's a king now. He was a prince earlier.
Yeah.
And he was a king, and in the immediate next sentence, the noble turned toward the prisoner with a noticeable shimmer reflecting in his frog-like eyes and his lips contorting to a greasy grin.
I have decided to void my previous decree. The prisoner shall be removed to one of the palace's underground vaults. There he shall stay until I have decided he is sufficiently simmered, whereupon he is allowed to spend the remainder of his days at labor in one of my mines. Simmered.
You're cooking him.
Like a pot roast.
They're cooking him on low heat.
Yeah, simmer for 5 weeks.
Yes. Upon hearing this, Grigna realized that his fate would be far less merciful than death to one such as he, who is used to roaming the countryside at will. A life of confinement would be more than his body and mind could stand up to. This type of life would be immeasurably worse than death. I shall never understand the ways if your twisted civilization. I simply defend my honor and am condemned to life confinement by a pig who sits on his royal ass wooing whores and knows nothing of the affairs of the land he imagines to rule. Lectures Grigner?
It's a question mark.
There's a question mark.
Enough of this. Away with the slut before I lose my control.
There it is again, slut. And it comes up more and more. Seeing the peril of his position, Grigner searched for an opening. Crushing prudence to the sword, he ploughed into the soldier at his left arm, taking hold of his sword and bounding to the dais supporting the prince before the startled guards could regain their composure. Arfund leaped Grigner and his sire, but found a sword blade permeating the length of his ribs before he could loose his weapon.
Oh.
The councillor slumped to his knees as Grigner slid his crimsoned blade from Arfund's... Oh, they dropped the second age. At Arfund's rib cage. The fat prince stood undulating in
Undulating?
He's a jellyfish now. In insurmountable fear before the edge of the fiery-maned comet, his flabs of jellied blubber pulsating to and fro in ripples of flowing terror. Well, yes, that is what undulating means.
Like flailing around?
Where is your wisdom and power now, your majesty? Growled Grigner. The prince went rigid as Grigner discerned him. As Grigner discerned him, glazing over his shoulder.
Glazing? Glazing?
He slived. We should have a count of how many times this kid misspells swiveled.
So that's 2?
I think that's 2. He slived to note the cause of the noble's attention, raised his sword over his head and prepared to leash a vicious downward cleft, but fell short as the haft of a steel-rimmed pike clashed against his unguarded skull. Then blackness and solitude, silence enshrouding and ever peaceful reigned supreme.
R-E-I-N-D. Reigned.
Silence enshrouding and ever peaceful reigned supreme. That's one, no punctuation.
Before me, Sirrah, before me as always. Ha! Ha! Ha!
Nobly cackled.
Nobly, that's his name.
Nobly. Sounds like something you name a house elf from Harry Potter. It's like Dobby's younger brother, Nobly. Chapter 3. Consciousness returned to Grigner in stigmatic pools as his mind gradually cleared of the cobwebs cluttering its inner recesses, yet the Stygian cloud of charcoal ebony remained. An incompatible shield of blackness enhanced by the bleak absence of sound. That is not how you spell absence.
No.
Like, not even a little bit. Grigner's muddled brain reeled from the shock of the blow he had received to the base of his skull. The events leading to his predicament were slow to filter back to him. He dickered with the notion that he was dead and dickered.
Okay.
He was dead and had descended or sunk, however it may be, to the shadowed land beyond the aperture of the grave.
Aperture?
But rejected this hypothesis when his memory sifted back within his grips. This was not the land of the dead. It was something infinitely more precarious than anything the grave could offer. Death promised an infinity of peace, but not the finite misery of an inactive life of confined torture, forever concealed from the life-bearing shafts of the beloved rising sun. The orb that had been taken for granted, yet now cherished above all else. To be forever released further glimpses of the snow-capped mountains.
What?
Oh, God.
What?
Snow-capped summits of the land of his birth, never again to witness the thrill of plundering unexplored lands beyond the crest of a bleeding horizon, and perhaps worst of all, the denial to ever again encompass the lustful excitement of caressing the naked curves of the body of a trim, yound wench.
Wow.
Yound. A yound wench.
So he's like, oh no, I can't walk around.
I can't see the sun.
I can't see the sun. I can't touch boobies.
I can't murder and steal. And I just can't grope bitches. That's the worst.
Oh no.
This was indeed one of the buried chasms of hell concealed within the inner depths of the palace's despised interior. A fearful ebony chamber devised to drive to the brinks of insanity the minds of the unfortunately condemned, through the inapt solitude of a limbo of listless, dreary silence.
Chapter 3.5. Because... K.
Right? A tightly wrung elliptical circle of torches cast their wavering shafts prancing morbidly over the smooth surface of a rectangular, rigid altar. Expertly chiseled forms of grotesque gargoyles graced the oblique rim protubrating the length of the grim orifice of death, staring forever ahead into nothingness in complete ignorance of the bloody rites enacted in their presence. Brown flaking stains decorated the golden surface of the ridge surrounding the altar.
The altar?
Altar, as in to change.
Yes.
Which banked to a small slit at the lower right-hand corner of the altar. And that's actually altar, how it's supposed to be spelled. The slit stood above a crudely pounded pail which had several silver-meshed chalices hanging at its sides. Dangling at the rim of golden mallet, the handle of which was engraved with images of twisted faces and groved at its far end with slots designed for a snug hand grip. The head of the mallet was slightly larger than a clenched fist and shaped into a smooth oval mass. And there's the ovals again.
There's the damn ovals.
This is hard to read.
Encircling the marble altar was a congregation of leering shaman, eerie chants of a bygone age originating unknown eons before the memory of man were being uttered from the buried recesses of the acolytes' deep lings.
They're deep lings.
Okay. Orange paint was smeared in generous globules over the tops of priests' wrinkled, shaven scalps, while golden rings projected from the lobes of their pink ears. Ornate robes of luscious purple satin...
No, that's Lushior.
Oh, sorry. Ornate robes
purple.
of Lushior satin enclosed their bulging torsos. What? Their torsos are bulging?
Yeah.
Attached around their waists were silvered silk lashes latched with ebony buckles in the shape of a morose, misshapen skulls.
Just miss-shaped.
Yeah. Dangling around their necks were oval-fashioned medallions.
Ovals.
Again, held by thin gold chains, featuring in the center's blood-red rubies, no punctuation, were blood-red rubies which resembled crimson fetish eyeballs. Cushioning their bare feet were plush red felt slippers with pointed golden spikes projecting from their tips. I can't.
Yeah. Situated in front of the altar and directly adjacent to the copper pail was a massive jade idol, a misshaped, hideous bust of the shaman's pagan deity. The shimmering green idol was placed in a sitting posture on an ornately carved golden throne raised upon a round, ivory-plated dais. Like, I think that's supposed to be ivory again, and like this dais is plated with ivory because clearly they're in an ivory mine.
Yes, where ivory comes from.
Yes, because ivory is something that you can get that much of that easily. Its bulging arms and webbed hands rested on the padded arms of the seat. Its head was entwined in golden snake-like coils hanging over its oblong ears, which tapered off to thin, hollow points. I have no idea what that
It has, like, snake hair? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Its nose was a bulging triangular mass sunken in its sides with gaping nostrils.
Yep.
It had of them. Dramatic beneath the nostrils was a twisted, shaggy-lipped mouth, giving the impression of a slavering, sadistic grimace. How is the mouth shaggy? Was it like, did it have like a mustache?
Beard? Yeah.
No, it just had like a porn mustache. You know? Like it was the 70s.
I suppose.
At the foot of the heathen deity, a slender, pale-faced female, naked but for a golden jeweled harness enshrouding her huge outcropping breasts, supporting long silver laces which extended to her thigh, stood before the pearl-white field with noticeable shivers travelling up and down the lengths of her exquisitely moulded body. Her delicate lips trembled beneath soft, narrow hands as she attempted to conceal herself from the piercing stare of the ambivalent idol. He was ambivalent, so he couldn't decide. He's like, is this chick naked? Is this chick not naked? I can't figure it out. Glaring directly down towards her was the stony, cycloptic face of the bloated deity. Gaping from its single oblong socket was scintillating many-faceted scarlet emerald.
I can't see either of these colors, but I'm going to guess that an emerald is not scarlet.
It's, very super not. And nor does it have faucets.
No.
So there's just a tap sticking out of it.
There's a tap sticking out of it.
It's a big gem. It's an emerald, but it's red. A brilliant gem seeming to possess a life all of its own. A priceless gleaming stone, capable of domineering the wealth of conquering empires. The Eye of Argon!
Dun dun dun!
I think on that note, we should call it for this episode.
Why?
Well, A, because we're halfway done. B, because we're 40 minutes in. And C, because...
There's a lot.
I kind of need to take a break from this.
Yeah, I really have to use a frickin' bathroom. But that was the first half of the Eye of Argon. I think there's 7 chapters, but it goes through 5 and 6 really fast because he does that half thing again.
Yeah, there's a 7, 7.5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
then there's... I still promise, and we still promise there's no porn.
And there's no porn.
Yeah.
It does get worse, though.
Yeah.
The first 3 chapters are written significantly better than the rest. The run-on sentences just escalate. The poorly used adjectives get even more poorly used. And the spelling mistakes... nigh on incomprehensible.
Okay.
So...
let us continue in part 2.
Episode 3, part 2.
Yes, we're good at the podcasting.
Yes.